You had to be everything you weren't to know who you are. It's so easy for us to judge ourselves for making mistakes. It's so easy when you look around, it's like, well, it seems like other people have it together and I'm the only one who doesn't. But not everybody's on the same path as you. And so you've got to trust every step of your path. Some people wake up, go to school, go home. Wake up, go to work, go home. And that works for them. Maybe. I mean, it's up to you if you really want to believe that that works for them. It could just be something that satiates their primal desires. But if you have a desire to go deeper, you're going to be sent through a lot of tribulations and trials before you get there. And that means being who you aren't. Like the amount of times that I have played a role that is not mine to play so that I could see how wrong it was, so I could get realigned, it's all on purpose. There's no need to feel bad because you publicly made poor choices on multiple occasions. Because character stands true no matter what. Your character stands strong no matter what. Because your actions don't define you. They're just a part of a process. You're just here. Like, it's crazy to me to think that we have been taught to believe, we have been systemically trained and indoctrinated to believe that we came here just to follow the same rules as everybody else. Let's sit with that for a minute. Like, doesn't that sound absolutely insane to you? We are on a rock, spinning at an insane velocity through a stupid amount of space that's unfathomable, literally infinity. And we are in this infinite universe with a million other galaxies and probably civilizations and rock balls floating through the air. Like, we are... And we're like, oh, but I gotta go to college and get a job straight away. Start paying my dues. Like, sure, that's what you want to do, but it's actually not the most important thing. It's just not. I've been faced with a lot of darkness in my life, and if there's anything that has shown me that it's so important to stay divinely connected to something, is that as low as I've ever been, I've always had peace. As dark as my surroundings ever got, as painful as it ever was, I had peace. And then when I didn't have peace, I knew I need to get back to peace as quickly as possible. And I knew that peace in the material world is fleeting. Finding it through relationships cannot be done. You can't find peace through relationships. You can't find peace through objects. You can't find peace through substances. It's temporary, and in the long run will cause you a lot more pain. And so while you're riding these waves of being human, being a spiritual being, being an energetic being, pretending to be human with very minimal true knowledge of how the universe works, right? Of course you're going to mess it up. Oh my gosh. If anything, you're more connected to the divine because you've messed up. By messing up, it just proves how connected you are to the divine, because you know that what everybody else is doing actually isn't working, and you're fumbling around trying new ways so that you can create and pave a new path for other people. How beautiful. How beautiful. You're saying to the world, actually, the way you did it, sure, it's temporary comfort. What about in 10 years when you lose that job? What about when that position becomes obsolete? What about the fact that you are dispensable to every fucking company that you come across? Does that actually mean anything? Do you see the true value of yourself? when you go through these waves of being what you are not, trying something else, being different, it pulls you closer to who you are, and it's what you're here to do. If you let that get in your head, and if you let that hold you back, then you're not doing what you're meant to do. Trust the path. You're so divinely protected. I mean, look at you. You're sitting somewhere watching this on YouTube. Like, I would say that if you have access to YouTube, you are so divinely protected. There's so much wisdom on YouTube. There's so much to absorb on YouTube. God is everywhere on YouTube. Everywhere. You are so divinely protected. And God wants you to see that. Sorry if I'm squinting a lot. The sun is very intense. It's cloudy, but intense. Gosh, you are so incredible for even trying to do something. You're so great for that. Strong. And there's no need for you to feel like disturbance about it. I've tried on a lot of different uniforms. And I was just saying to my friend yesterday that there's uniforms that you put on and you're like, I could wear this. I could. But then there's uniforms that when you look at them or you try them on, uniforms being positions of in your life, like motherhood or a job or whatever the uniform might be. And some of those uniforms that you're going to try on, they feel aligned, but they're scary. And it's like you also almost struggle to see yourself in that uniform. But that uniform that feels scary, but also makes so much sense, that's the one for you. So you're going to have to keep trying on uniforms until you finally give in and lean into that one scary uniform that you know is for you. And you're going to change the world once you're in that uniform, because you're listening to God or the universe or source or whatever cute word you want to use to describe the infinite intelligence that we have access to, that is pure love. I don't care what you call it. Once you accept that uniform for what it is, you put it on and you fumble around in that uniform and you mess it up a bunch, and then you take it off and you put it back on and you quit and you get back at it and you stop and you try again and you pull away and you regroup and you practice and you get better. It's like, I want you to, this is how I can picture it, okay? Is that it's like you're looking at a graph. You've taken a math class. You're here on YouTube. So you're looking at a graph, right? You got this straight line. X-axis? I don't remember. The horizontal axis. And there is a wave. And it's quite big, right? If you've done trigonometry, you would know the sine and cosine waves. They go up and under, above and below even amounts of this horizontal axis. So excuse me. So as you're doing this, you're taking these really big waves. This horizontal axis is your true self, okay? And while on this axis, you're going above and below. And every once in a while, you feel like, wow, this really feels like me. But then you kind of get scared and you jump the gun. So then you go below and then you try it on again. You're like, it's not quite for me. And you go above. And outside of the axis is all of these different like versions of you that you're trying on, all of those uniforms we're talking about that didn't feel right. I used to be a bartender, I've been a dance teacher, I've been a store clerk, a sales associate, I've been an office clerk. Like I've tried on many outfits, and the more that you come back to that outfit that feels right, which is that axis, it's you, you'll start to become more associated and comfortable with it. And you'll be like, although it's staying right on that axis feels scary, so I feel like I have to try all these other things that people are telling me I should be. You slowly start to, that wave gets smaller and smaller, and you spend less time away from your true self. And that's where that connection to divine starts to happen. And that's where that uniform starts to just feel like, you know what, there actually truly was never any other option. And you'll see it now. Then your higher self is looking back like, of course there was evidence this whole time. There was evidence this whole time of who I was supposed to be, and I was just ignoring it and trying on different uniforms. And you can wear multiple uniforms as well, but I'm more talking in this sort of metaphor, so that you can understand what I'm trying to say is that there's going to be a million versions of you, but you got to let the ones that are right be you. And that uniform can look like a lot of things. It doesn't just have to be one thing. You aren't, like, I'm not just an oracle. I'm not just out here spitting God's words for you. I'm a photographer. I'm a mother. I'm a lover. I'm a friend. I'm a daughter. And I apply myself to all of those things with my whole heart because I love doing those things. They feel natural and good to me. Sometimes they feel scary. Sometimes it's scary to open my heart up to being a lover girl in a world where, like, oh my gosh, have you met men? You know what I mean? So it's scary. Of course it's scary. But God finds you when you're in that frequency of love. God finds you. And so I'm here with this message because I love you. I take photos of people because I love them. I love to see their essence in a static form. I love capturing them. I love taking pictures. It's all in you, and you don't have to just be one thing. It's just so important for you to lean into what brings out the love in you so that you can give that love to other people. They deserve to receive your love, and you deserve to give your love. And when you give your love willingly and beautifully without expectation of return, it comes back to you so strong, and you'll start to see evidence of it everywhere. So don't be ashamed of the many uniforms you've tried on. It's a beautiful process. It's a process that you're supposed to be a part of. You're supposed to be a part of that. And I celebrate it. It's exciting. Because, oh my gosh, thank goodness. Now we know, like, we can cross that off the list. Definitely not for me. Moving on. And then a lot of things you'll try multiple times. I've tried doing sales multiple times. I've tried teaching dance and doing dance. I've tried all sorts of different social media options, and none of them ever felt so aligned that I could just naturally do it. Every day getting on here, spitting words of God to you, it feels so natural. And I know I've always been a direct channel to God since I was a child, but I fought it because that's scary. How do I go around being like, I'm speaking on behalf of God to you? That's crazy. I'm and I come from like a not a very religious family. I grew up going to Catholic school. My parents' reasoning was the education is better, which in Ontario is true. I don't know about everywhere in the world, but it's true. And so I grew up with a religious understanding, even though my family was not religious. We go to church every once in a while, but really we weren't. And so now to say, like, I'm a channel is crazy. It's crazy, insane, cuckoo banyonkers. But, like, when you lean into it and you let it be what it is, oh, the peace. Because I made peace with who I was before finding out that other people would accept me this way. I had to be who I wanted to be before And I know there's people out there who are going to think I'm crazy. I know it. But I've seen God work so many magical ways in my life that it doesn't even matter what they say anymore because I've got God on my side. We got God together. So, trust the process. You're always going to come back. You're always going to come back. So don't feel like you're fumbling around and you still don't know who you are. Don't feel like that. I'm still not sure. Like, is this really me? Or is this just another thing I'm trying? Who cares? Who cares? Not me. So we're just going to keep flowing with it. It's fine. It's good. You're so beautiful. You're right on track. If you want to book a one-on-one session with me to just kind of get a vibe for where you are, what I do is I pull people closer to this axis so that they can trust, so that they can trust themselves that those big scary moves, they're real and they're right there. Sometimes you just need somebody else to say it to you. So there will be a link down below if you want to book a session. If you want to chat before booking a session, then message me over on Instagram and we can just chat and see like what you're fumbling around. Where do we need to go and see if we vibe before we do a full session. Okay. I love you so much. You're doing so great. Like, you are so right on track. You're right here on this video. So of course you are. It just makes perfect sense. Just makes perfect sense. You're the best. Have a good day. You rock.